Welcome back to my class. From the psychological theory, there is a term, refreshment. That means our attention ability is very limited. So from time to time, we need to refresh our mind or our space in mind. So we have to clean up with some coffees or with some another sunshine, right? So from that refreshment, we can have more space to have more attention. So let's get back to class with some refreshment. And continuously, we are talking about the digital economy. And there are some changes in digital economy. So let's check it very briefly with some words and the pictures. So first, changes into mass customized production. This mass customized production is very important. And that this is another typical changes in digital economy. I will explain a little bit later in this part, but shortly, from the industrial period, there are mass production, and the factories produce products, and just the consumers buy them, even though the products will have some faults or some other bad things inside. They need to buy because they cannot have one in another place at that time. So mass production was the first start of our industrial life. And the needs and wants of consumers were changing, and that their powers are getting increased, right, at the time. So at that time, they can, the factories produce several categories according to the needs and wants of consumers or customers. But in this time of kind of several classification of one product, the depth and the bandwidth of the product was just limited still, because they have a limited capability of production, right? So some other consumers cannot be satisfied with those products. But in this digital economy, it is very easy to gather up the information of customers. They can check what their customers need, as well as what they prefer. Because nowadays in Korea, there are so many membership cards, not for credit card. So if we pay with that customer's card or membership card, the record of our purchase is recorded into the database of a company. That is the POS system. POS system refers to point of sales. Point of sales. That means everything is done at the point of sales with some scanner with barcode. So if we buy something, the company scans the barcode, and they have some database of our information. So today we bought this, and this. And several days later, if we go again and buy again, at that time, we can be recorded as information of our purchase. At that time, the company can utilize those informations. Oh, this customers prefers this, and this customers comes and buy usually this category products. So after some seasonal invitations or coupons are available for us, but usually we are getting the same, no differentiated, the same coupons usually. But in these days, they categorized it into one by one customers. So the coupons are differentiated for each customer's preference. That is great, right? But it became so easy to classify their customers by computer. So mass customization is possible in these days. And securing the raw materials have a great difficulty in these days because our resource on this earth is so limited, right? And niche market, according to changes of customer needs. So several new companies are trying to enter into a new market share, which another previous companies or competitors does not have some share. So that is the niche market, and we call niche marketing. And saturation of goods in maturing period. And uncertainty of economic circulation. So economic circulation has also uncertainty, like in this rapidly changing environment, because uncertainty is getting increased day by day. We cannot be sure of what will our tomorrow be like. So this digital economy can be a great challenges for companies. But we can have, on the other hand, for consumers, it is a little bit, we can a little bit good chances for have more convenient time and chance of purchase or choices. So for business, we need to have some kind of insights. What will tomorrow be like, or what will tomorrow will bring us? So without those insights of a company, it is very hard, and we cannot be sure of the future or the tomorrow of the company, right? So it can be summarized like this. Our economic changes from the history. First time, manual industry. At that time, we just make our own selves, and we make and we catch or we capture, right? So small variety and small production in these days, in those times. And the market share or market is also limited and so narrow and so small because of distance. Those times it was so hard to overcome those distance gap or the transportation problem. So market size was just so small at the time, and the production by hand, manual by hand. And because of that, personalized the production according to orders. At that time, they couldn't make some products in advance. If they got some order, please make this, or please, I need this. At that time, they started to make. So this was a manual industry period. And from the late 19th century, mass production was enabled, possible. So, but still, variety was small, but the amount was mass. So mass production was possible. That means production cost can be lowered. So the actual price can be low. So consumers can get the products of what they want with a cheaper price, right? And the nationwide market. So because of speed and amount of production in a factory, so it was possible to go abroad because the transportation was added, right? Like just the motor vehicles and trains and some engines. The inventions of engines enabled this transportation possible to overcome the distance. And fixed. In these days, mass production was not customized, just fixed on their schedule, on their description of products. So at that time, there are many choices for consumers to choose the products. Because of mass production, they need to be standardized. So fixed mass production was one of mass production period characteristics. And company-centered production. And now, mass customized period. We have a large variety, and also factories can have mass production too. And the market itself has been changed into a global one, not limited on some local or some domestic market. So it is a great change, don't you think so? And the flexible production. That means they can, even though they need to have some kind of production lines in a factory, they can change several parts, more parts than mass production period. So they can customize. Like before, in the mass production period, if a company produces a car, they didn't have many options to choose. Just like a bakery cooking machine, just the same cars. But nowadays, we can choose so many things to when we buy some cars, right? Colors and other options inside, and airbags, cushions, and electronic convenience tools. So it was possible to have a flexible production. So it is easy to change. The production line itself was easy now to change. So it is also good characteristics of this mass customized period. And fourth, customer-centered production. That means even though they produce mass amount, but among those products, they can meet each personal needs and wants easily, with ease nowadays. So in this area, even though for a business it became harder to produce or to market or to run a business itself, but customers' needs and wants are so various. Each one has its own taste, right? So until this mass production period, it was very hard to get into the personalized needs and wants of a customer. But In these days, it is possible because digitalized the information of customers. And those databases enable the company to classify or diversify the customers, their own customers. And they can expect or predict the consumer's behavior too. So it is a great chance also, right? Even though a business have to face a complicated environment and a harsh environment, but because of digital instruments, they have less pressure on production or on satisfying their customers. It is very important. Challenge, that is the challenge. So if we challenge and we go forward or step toward the future, considering any other environments, information, knowledges, it is very easy for us to catch up with those surrounding environments. And the business can be survived later, and the business can be grown bigger. So we always need to think about our surroundings, and we have to have more senses on that. And some changes touches your ears, your eyes, or your nose. At that time, it is time for you to think about the new plans. Now, let's look around about our commerce environment. What had been changed in this commerce environment? We call nowadays EC period, EC, not European something, something, blah, blah, blah. Just the electronic commerce period. So, in this period of electronic commerce, the commerce speed has been just like light speed. So we sometimes call the selling and buying at a light speed. But let's check about some changes. Seller-centered model. Because even though they make some, they build some home pages or some site pages, at that time, the main focus was on sellers. Even though the interface need to be built for the customers who visit those sites. So, first, when an electronic commerce emerges and this firstly have on the first stage, at that time, it was seller-centered, like our traditional manufacturing period changes. But these were not comfortable for customers, right? Because it was centered on sellers. So, customers are turning their backs onto another site. So, on this electronic commerce, one of consumers' behavior, there is a change. There, it can be called a switch. That means their consumers change their favorite shops or shopping malls into another one. That is switching behavior. So, in offline environment, those switching behavior were not that easy because we have some eye contacts or some relationship with our neighbors. So, at that time, if we want to change to another shop across the road, we feel a little bit nervous, right? Because of our relationship in offline. But in online environment, we don't need to be afraid of some nervous things because we don't buy things face to face. We just use computers. So there are no real eye contacts. So it is easy for consumers to switch the shop, right? So they have to be changed into customer-centered model. So not simply on selling, but on the long-term relationship. Not only one or instant purchase or selling. They need to have a longer relationship with their customers for their future benefits. So they have to catch their customers inside their sites or their area. So the mind has been changed into that we need to give or offer customers with a long-term satisfaction, not only one time. And the service model has been integrated into one. They are integrating. So various products and services for each customer. One site cannot have everything for every customer. So they need to cooperate with the delivery companies with a lower cost of delivery or sometimes free deliveries. And on one site, they need to have another products to satisfy their own customers. So at that time, like a department store or another super malls, they need some other companies to coming in their sites. So service model has been integrated like that. So these EC models of development, let's check like this, from seller-centered and customer-centered and integrated nowadays. So as I explained before, a business model was focusing on goods and services they sell. And site operators is the same as a service provider. The same. Site operators are the same as the service providers. And the shopping malls are dealing with mostly for domestic demand, not from the outside. And step 2, second step, customer-centered period, focused on building a long-term relationship with customers for their long-term benefits. So they cannot ignore they cannot ignore what their customers are hating or what they prefer. And differentiated service and to each customized consumers. And this step has the same aspects like step 1. Site operators were same as service providers. They run themselves until this step. And third, nowadays they integrated the service model. So one-stop service they want to offer to their customers. One-stop service. They don't want their own customers to go around another shopping malls because it can be a chance for another competitors to have another new customers. So they're mostly big shopping malls are trying to give or offer one-stop service with some other differentiated benefits for their customers, responding to needs of a specific segments. So well-segmented targeting is a very important strategy for nowadays shopping mall owners. And this is different from former step. Site operators are independent third party. That means site operators are not the owner of shopping malls. That means shopping mall owners hire some professionals to run their shopping mall sites. So this is a different thing from former two steps, and the broader bandwidth of service. And these services are linked with the several service providers, not only one, because sometimes one, if they have a connection or are related with only one company, at the time, if those that company have some problems at the time, they will have some customer service failure, which can be resulted in losing their chances in the market. So, because the service recovery from those service failure is really, really hard. So, these are our process of EC models, electronic commerce models. So now we are in the step 3. We cannot be sure of what will be the next step. With the iPhones or with some interactive tools or functions are now under developing, right? So we cannot be sure of our future EC models. We may not need some screens, or we may not need some touches or clicks. If we just think wearing some sunglasses and think and order by our mouth, it can be possible. It is still in the area of a screen, right? Films, but we can expect like this. And influences of this electronic commerce. Because of electronic commerce, we can have reduced buying cost. Our buying cost can be reduced because of a destruction of intermediaries between the channel. So their selling cost, they don't need to have actual rooms or spaces to display their products, and customers coming in and buy and coming out, going out. We don't need to actual space. We just need the space for store some products to sell. So reduction of cost is the great changes, and the reduction of keeping safety level of stocks. Comparing to offline buying, online buying takes time of delivery. So sometimes it can be a little bit later than we expect. But offline shops, if a customer comes and if they cannot find what they want, at that time they will change. I mean, they will switch the shops to buy immediately, right? So offline shops need to have a safety level of stocks. But online shops does not need this kind of things. And cycle time is also reduced, and customer service can be improved. And reduction of marketing cost. Because of all this, marketing cost can be reduced. And they can find always, they can capture new chances for selling. That is the electronic commerce. And now we need to talk about this knowledge industry. Knowledge comes first, followed by money or men in these days. In our past period of industry, at that time, this money and men were very important factors of production. But nowadays, this knowledge is the first thing. And nowadays, the labor market is not that stable because of the cost, salary. So there are greater gap in income. So we need to have a we cannot find a stable labor market nowadays because of our changing environment, and the digital economy has brought that kind of aspects. So we need to focus another things to reduce production cost and make a higher efficiency and effectiveness. I will explain about these things later. And invisible assets, the knowledge is invisible, but still this is assets of a company. So that means it can be related into our future profits. So in one sentence, knowledge is invisible and infinite and coexistent and borderless and non-aging. So this is a great weapon in the future market. So future jobs can be simply divided into three categories, like a simple production and man-to-man service and creative professionals. So managing this knowledge is very important. What is the meaning of the knowledge management? The concept is the aggregation of activities. Activities are aggregated. Which activities? Related to knowledge, such as creation, storage, sharing, and utilization of the knowledges. For what? To secure the competitive advantage. Business needs a competitive advantage. So companies are trying to reduce their costs and to have more power in the market. So it is very important to manage the knowledge itself. So what will be the characteristics of knowledge management? The more it is used, the bigger it becomes. Without using that, it is nothing, right? Knowledge is nothing if we don't use. But if we use and utilize it more and more, our knowledge becomes bigger. And production cost is not related to the number of users. Regardless of the number of users, the knowledge can be produced limitlessly, right? So no limit in time and place, and the cost in early period is high, but the additional cost is low. So like this, we have studied about the recent environment and the recent characteristics of the environment. Our environment has been changed much comparing to our former stages. So we need to change our mind to get used to this rapidly changing environment. So we will see about the management itself next time. For today, thank you very much for being with me. Thank you. See you next time.